Okay. Can you see my screen in the full mode presentation?
Yes.
Yes, we can. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So welcome everyone to this last INSECTOPIA webinar. Today we have with us Professora Cristina Castracani. Thank you very much for being with us from the University of Parma with this amazing proposal on a webinar called How Citizen Science Can Help the Study of Pollinators. So before passing the floor to Cristina, I would like to do a little introduction about our initiative, INSECTOPIA. Let me just find it here. Yes. So just in case you are still not familiar after this number of webinars we are organizing, just to remember and to, so we are all aware that INSECTOPIA is an initiative framed in the Work Package 8 of the EU Green Alliance for the Healthy and Sustainable Campus Life. With this initiative, we aim to promote biodiversity, sustainability, and community engagement across the 9 campuses of the EU Green Alliance. What is important after this last webinar is that we already opened the call for proposals. So we would like to collect proposals, ideas of true insect utopias in order to engage the campus community in biodiversity awareness and especially into action. So activities as this webinar should inspire your ideas, so you can submit them in this call for proposals. So what we are looking for students, staff, and local communities to develop sustainable habitats and ecological projects such as insect hotels, pollinator gardens, or other related projects. It could be exhibitions or any other kind of events. Very quick, the main objectives of the initiative, of the INSECTOPIA initiatives, is again to support local biodiversity, promote environmental sustainability, and a very important aspect, since we are in a higher education alliance, we want to foster education and engagement. So the proposals and the main aim of the INSECTOPIA is to share knowledge, science-based knowledge, and to create pedagogical tools that will be useful for the university students, staff, researchers, and anyone. And last but not least, we would like to encourage creativity and innovation, again, with a science-based approach and multidisciplinary approach, so we can implement also innovative techniques. So with any further ado, I would like to I will stop sharing my screen. Cristina, if you can share yours, please. So while
Yes, of course. You can see. Can you see my screen? Yes, probably.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cristina. So I will just say a few words about you, and then you can
Mhm.
start. So today we have with us Professora Cristina Castracani. She's an ethologist and adjunct professor in the University of Parma, where she is responsible for teaching in citizen science. So her research interests include the behavior of social insects. I consider myself a social insect, by the way, and monitoring entomological biodiversity in both natural and anthropogenic environments, and integrating citizen science into scientific research. She leads the Citizen Science Project School of Ants, so learning with ants. Most probably she will share with us some insights about this, which involved more than 3,000 students across Italy so far. She's also founding member of the Italian Citizen Science Association. So now, Cristina, the floor is yours. Again, thank you very much. You can set your full mode, your full presentation mode, and you can start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will start the presentation. So can you see the presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Yes. Okay, and can you hear me perfectly? Because from this moment I won't be able to see you. So
yeah, we see you.
okay.
We see the presentation right here.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much for the invite, and I think this project is really very interesting. So my seminar is about citizen science and what can citizen science do for pollinators. So in the first part of my presentation, I will speak a little bit about citizen science, so giving you some basic definitions about citizen science. Then I will show you some examples of interesting European projects that I think could be useful to inspire our participant to the call. And then I will explain you a couple of platforms that I think could be useful if you want to develop a citizen science project. So let's start with what is citizen science. We can say that the first person that spoke about citizen science is Alan Irwin. He is a sociologist, and his definition is citizen science is the expertise that exists within groups of people traditionally considered ignorant. That means, for example, people that they have a passion for something, so they know a lot of things about this specific topic, but they cannot be considered real scientists. So think about, for example, for birders, for example, or amateur astronomists. All these people knew a lot of interesting information about this specific topic, but they are not professionalist researchers. On the other side, Rick Bonney, that is an ornithologist, defines citizen science as a research technique for collecting scientific data based on the assistance of citizens. So the definition of Rick is more focused on the idea that citizen science is a research technique, as we have other type of research techniques. There are many definitions of citizen science, but the one that I prefer most is this one. So citizen science is a collaborative research activity that involves volunteers and researchers with the goal of producing new knowledge based on scientific evidence. So citizen science is science. So the goal of citizen science is to produce new knowledge, so to do science, but we do science with a very important collaboration between researchers and volunteers. As I told you, there are many definitions of citizen science because it's really difficult to define citizen science in the correct way. And for this reason, the European Citizen Science Association produced these 10 principles of citizen science in order to have an idea on what is a project of citizen science and what is not a project on citizen science. In this link, you can find the principles. They were translated in several languages, so you can have a look of all the 10 principles. For this presentation, I would like to focus your attention to some of these principles. One of these is connected with results. Citizen science projects have a genuine science outcome. For example, answering a research question or informing conservation action, management decisions, or environmental policies. That means citizen science is what I already told you, science. So we need a research question for a project of citizen science, and we want to answer these research questions using the scientific methods. Another aspect is very important is the aspects connected to benefits. Both the professional scientist and the citizen scientist benefit from taking part to the project. These benefits may include the publication of research outputs, but also learning opportunities, personal enjoyment, social benefit, satisfaction through contributing to scientific evidence, for example, to address local, national, or international issues, and through that, the potential to influence policy. So that means that citizen science have several benefits. So we can have scientific, educational, societal, and political. The last principle that I would like to speak is the impacts. Citizen science programs are evaluated for their scientific output, of course, by data quality, but also by participant experience and wider social or policy impact. This means that, yes, at the beginning, in a citizen science project, we have at least two main actors, so researchers and volunteers, but we have a plethora of different actors that are involved in a citizen science project. And so the most important thing is how we can communicate, how we can speak each other, how we can understand each other, since we are very different actors. Just to give you some historical informations, we consider one of the first citizen science project, the Anami. The Anami is a Japanese word that means more or less contemplate the cherry blossom bloom. And we consider this one of the oldest examples that we can define citizen science. And it is based on the habit of observation of the cherry blossoms in Kyoto, in Japan. So basically, merchant, politicians, monks, and other visitors to the royal palace recorded the beginning of the cherry blossom season in their diaries, with the earliest record traced back to the 801 year. Thanks to all these information that were taken by non-professional scientists, merchants, politicians, monks, and etc., this researcher, Yasuyuki Aono, was able to produce this analysis, where you can see all the development of the beginning of the cherry blossom from the 800 till basically today. He used 732 data points, and most of them came from old diaries, chronicles, Japanese poetry, and the rest from advertisements in daily newspaper. And you can see from the graph, from the picture, that basically till this century, the 19th century, the cherry blossom more or less started to bloom in the same period. But from that date in particular, the cherry blossom started to bloom in advance, so early, and this is a clear sign of the climate change that we are now witnessing. Another interesting project is the Moonwatch project. That is a project of that was developed in the last century. We can say that in the last century there were a lot of professional scientists, so there were not a lot of interesting example of citizen science, but one of them was the Moonwatch project. And this project involved, was initiated by the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, and he tried to ask the help of amateur astronomers for collecting information of the first satellites that we sent in the space in that period. And so, for example, the Sputnik, that was the first satellite that was sent in the space, was followed thanks to the data recorded by this big community of amateur astronomers. But the first citizen science project of the modern age that we consider a real modern citizen science project is the Christmas bird count. In the year 19, Frank Chapman, a member of the Audubon Society, launched the first Christmas bird count, and it was a volunteer-based census of winter bird population that took place during the Christmas seasons in the United States as an alternative to the traditional Christmas side hunt, where hunters competed to kill as many animals as possible. So the idea was instead of killing animals, just take some pictures and notes about their presence. You can see in the picture, so the first participants at the beginning of the project, but you can see also there are other participants that are, let's say, more modern, because the project is still alive. So we are still collecting data inside this project. Here there is the website of the project, and if you go there, you have the possibility to download the data that were recorded since the beginning of the project, and you can use your data for your analysis. So you can look for data according to species, according to places, according to periods. So you have all the data that are free to use. So basically, this Christmas bird count has really a scientific value. Here you can see all the spots that now are used to collect the data once per year. And here you can have an example of the form where you can download the data that you need. So you can see, you can select a period, so a start here or end here. You can decide a place, or you can decide, for example, some species that you are interested in. But this project has also a very strong social value. Here you can see an article from a newspaper where one of the volunteers were interviewed. She is Marsha Watson. You can see in the picture on the right of the picture, and on the left there is his wife, his husband. And here I underlined something that I think is interesting in this article. So first, one observation of Marsha. She said that it has been shocking to me that in the time I've been doing the counts, how big the changes have been, and not for the good. Bird numbers are down, the habitat has been lost left and right as developments have moved in. It's really been kind of shocking. And the other sentence that I think is interesting is the end of the article, and they say, at the end of the day, many of the birders gather at local dinner to warm up and discuss the day's tallying, trading stories about interesting find. It's both a game and a scientific endeavor. So here you have some idea on that a citizen science project has a really societal value if is well developed. Okay. Just to give you an idea, I would like to speak about this project that is really very interesting, the Marine Litter Watch project. This project is connected with the problem of waste and particular plastic in our seas and coasts. And in this project, basically, the European Environmental Agency developed an app for collecting data on the rubbish that we can collect in our beaches. So basically, when there are some events on cleaning beaches and seas, you can use this app to describe what type of plastic you are collecting and you are removing, and all this data can be sent to the European Environmental Agency. And here there are some results. I mean, this is it's a project that started more or less more than 10 years ago. And you can see that the 10 objects most commonly found by the project are almost identical to those revealed by official data within the technical group of marine litter of the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, the first European strategy on plastic and other related initiatives. Here you can find the most funded type of plastics, and here you can recognize also some type of plastics that now are not used anymore in Europe. So this project was able also to give information to policymakers that decided to ban some of this type of plastic. Just to give you an idea of the citizen science landscape, so where we do in Europe citizen science, I would like to give you some results of these questionnaires that was done in 2016, so more or less 10 years ago, and 174 coordinators of citizen science project were involved in this questionnaire. And here are some results. Here you can find where the projects were distributed around Europe, and you can see that Germany and United Kingdoms were the countries where citizen science was at that time more spread. But we can say that now in 10 years, things are changing. As for example, in Italy, we have the first Citizen Science Association. We have also another Citizen Science Association in Portugal, for example. And so we have, we are improving in the try to produce this type of projects. And if you are curious, at that time, you can see that the topics of citizen science projects were mainly connected with natural sciences, let's say, so ecology, environmental science, biology, zoology were the most spread projects. But you can see that there are also projects from different type of disciplines like archaeology, history, languages, but also fine arts and communication and journalism. So just to give you an idea that the citizen science landscape is very wide. Okay. In this graph, you can see how researchers are accepting or are recognizing citizen science as an interesting methodologies. And you can see that more or less starting from 2010, the number of scientific articles connected to citizen science in the environmental, let's say, natural science categories of Web of Science started to increase. And now in this period, we have the biggest number of articles. This is a sign that the scientific community is starting to recognize citizen science as an interesting and useful methods to do science. But why now? We can say that there are several social trends and several technological trends that basically are helping the development of citizen science and the integration of citizen science in the traditional science. In the social trends, we can say that education, free time, and longevity are the main trends that are helping in the development of citizen science. So basically, we have generally a higher level of the education. We have more time, more free time, because, for example, in most of the European countries, we have the 5-day work week, and also we live longer, and so we have a category of people that basically are in good health, but they have free time, so they can help and participate on volunteering, on volunteer activities. Concerning also the social trends, another important aspect is now that we are now in the era of open science. Open science is a set of principles and practices aimed at making scientific research in all disciplines accessible to everyone. And for example, you probably are familiar with the terms of open access for scientific publications, but open science is something bigger. And you can see there are 4 main pillars that can help to reach the open science idea. And in one of the pillars, open engagement and societal actors, citizen science incited. So citizen science can be a way, one of the way we can reach real open science. And concerning technological trends, technology is helping us, especially in this period. So we have the broadband that increase connectivity. We have mobile devices that help us to access very quickly to the broadband, but also mobile devices are now implemented with a lot of sensors that we can use to measure different things in a very easy way. We have also the collaborative web. So, for example, think about Wikipedia, that is a user-friendly platform where we can share different type of information. We have geolocation. Thanks to our mobile phone, we can know exactly where we are. And then also the do-it-yourself electronics. Think about, for example, Arduino, and now we are able to produce sensors or other type of hardware in a very easy way. Okay, but what can citizens or volunteers can do in a citizen science project? So we had already said that citizen science is a scientific research. So here in this table, you can find the first column, all the steps of the scientific methods, more or less. And you can see that volunteers can participate in a very easy way in some of these steps, for example, collecting data and process data. And we usually tend to define this type of citizen science contributive citizen science. So is the simplest citizen science level that we have, but is obviously the more widespread. But the idea is that we can involve citizens in all the scientific in all the steps of the scientific methods. So we can also speak about collaborative citizen science, when we can involve citizens in, for example, define the protocol to collect data, or, for example, in analyzing the data. Till the co-created citizen science, where we aim to involve citizens in all the steps. So, for example, from defining the scientific question to discuss the results and disseminate the results and produce new scientific questions. And we define this co-created citizen science. Obviously, is the most difficult, but is the project that we would like to achieve, let's say. So now, in this second part, I would like to speak a little bit on some projects that are example, in my opinion, are good example, in my opinion, on what can citizen science do for pollinators. So, for example, first of all, I would like to speak about the European Pollinator Monitor Scheme. So the European community produced this paper, that is, produced this proposal. That is a guide on how we can monitor pollinators and how we can protect pollinators. So is a very big document. But what is interesting is that in one section, that is the section 2.7, this proposal speak directly and very clear about citizen science and give us a lot of information on how we can implement citizen science project focused on pollinator. So basically also the European community is recognize the importance of involving volunteers and creating citizen science project for the study and protection of pollinators. In this proposal, some interesting data are here. For example, here you have an analysis of the situation, the state of what they call pollinator citizen science in Europe. And you can see that in several countries, citizen science on pollinators is at the level of the developing level, and in some of the other countries are in the establishing level. So we can improve, and you can see there are several different factors, cultural, scientific, and external, that were used to design these different maps. And in this analysis, they said that now, the greatest barrier to the successful of citizen science in pollinators are connected with adult engagement in pollinators and local funding opportunities. So these are the most important barriers. And so these are also the most important topic where we can work, let's say. So, for example, we have a lot of citizen science projects for study pollinators that tend to engage schools or young people, but less projects that tend to involve adults, for example. Then the problem of local fundings is something that also we can think about it. One of the most interesting project is, for example, the UK Pollinator Monitor Scheme. Here you can find the website, and so you can go there and collect some information about this scheme. But in this project, basically, citizens can participate in two different methods with two different paths. So one is the flower insect time count, the feet count, and the other one is the adoption of 1 kilometer square to collect data. Considering the feet count, you have here some information, but basically you can spend 10 minutes watching flowers and insects in good weather. This simple survey collects data on the total number of insects that visit a particular flower, ideally chosen from our list of 14 target flowers. Feet counts can be done anywhere, including gardens and parks, in warm, dry weather during daylight hours from 1st of April to the 30th of September. So basically you decide, the researcher give you some information how to decide where you can collect the data, but you need only 10 minutes of your time to collect all the information of all the pollinators that you find in your place of observation. Obviously, they give you all the information of the different type of pollinators you can find, and so they teach you a little bit how to participate, but basically is very, very easy. On the other side, the 1 kilometer square survey, you have 1 kilometer is a more systematic approach, and in this sampling you use pan traps to capture sample of insect from a set of 95 1 kilometer square across Europe. So the researcher already have defined these squares. They also have defined the instrument that you are going to use, and so you have to try to find if there is a square near you, and you have to contact the researcher if you want to participate to collect the data. Another interesting project is the European Butterfly Monitor Screen. So this is more focused on butterflies. Here you can find the information on the website, so you can go there and collect the information that you need. But basically in this project, you first have to define a transect. So you contact the researcher and you ask them, I mean, you concord with them, you decide together with the researcher where you are going to place your permanent transect. And the idea is that you will work on this transect every year for a certain period of time. So you repeat continuously every year during the season where butterflies are there. So you basically go for your daily work. And when you are working, you can collect the data on which type of butterflies are there in your transect. Usually they say that a transect is forever like diamonds, more or less. Here you can find the data they collected in the project. They are not very updated, but in 2018, more than 100,000 citizen scientists were involved, and they worked more than 100,000 kilometers collecting data on butterflies. Then all the data are sent to the projects, and every year there is a report of all the collected data, and also you have the possibility to download the data that were collected all around Europe. The last project that I would like to speak about is the Life for Pollinators. That is a LIFE project, so founded by the LIFE grants, and is a project that involves several countries, also Italy, Greece, Spain, and Slovenia. They have done a lot of things connected to pollinators, but there is one part that is connected to citizen science, because basically what you can do is that when you walk, for example, if you find a pollinator, you can take a picture of this pollinator and send the picture to the researcher with the information about on where and when you collected the data. And thanks to all these observations, the researchers were able to produce this map of the distribution of the different type of pollinators that all the citizens involved in the project found. Okay. So I will go to the last part of my presentation, that is about some useful resources that probably you can think to use also for the Insectopia proposals. One resources that I think is very interesting is the platform called Zoo Universe. You can see the platform, and you have also the link to the website. In this platform, basically, what is Zooniverse is the wisdom of crowd. The Zooniverse is the world's largest platform for people-powered research. We connect professional researchers from millions of volunteers worldwide, facilitating real results from impractical or otherwise impossible research. Here, basically, what you can do, if you have a project that, for example, lead you to collect a lot of pictures, think about field camera trap, for example, and you don't have time to collect data from each picture that you were able to produce, then through Zoo Universe, you can ask the help of people in extract data from your pictures. For example, there are a lot of projects, so you can go there and look for different projects. I will give you some example. One interesting project is the Big Bee Bonanza, for example. In this project, they have pictures about museum collections. So the idea, they wanted to digitalize all the information that they have in their collection. This one is devoted to bees, and the idea is that we need to digitalize all the information on where, when, and who collected the specific sample. And you can help in digitalizing all these informations simply going to the Zoo Universe. So basically, when you go there, they show you a picture like this, and then you have some forms that you have to fill about the information that you are able to collect. So for example, you can see on the right that now we have to fill information about the country, the state, the locality and elevation, and etc. And then there will be another form asking for the name of the species and etc. Another example is the wild Mont Blanc. So it's not about pollinators, but just to give you an idea. Here you have, the researcher have camera trap in the Mont Blanc, and they collect basically millions of pictures. And so they asking people to help in extracting data. And if you go there, you can see picture like this. And so they ask you to say if in the pictures there are animals and what type of animals are there. And so you can give information to the researchers. Now, what is interesting is that in the Zoo Universe, you can create your project, and there is a very detailed guide on how to create the project. So you can think of the possibility to integrate a sort of project, this type of project, also in your Insectopia proposal. But what is interesting is that if you go on the right, you can see the table of contents. There are a lot of information about how you can involve people, what you have to do in this type of projects. And so maybe here you can find some useful information and inspiration for your Insectopia project. The second platform that I would like to introduce you is iNaturalist. Maybe some of you already know or already use it. iNaturalist basically is a platform for monitoring biodiversity. So it's not a citizen science project, but is a platform that can be used by citizen science projects. And how it works, basically you go in the nature, you record your observation. So basically you take some pictures of the animal, of the plant that you are interested in. Then you upload your picture and all the information when and where the picture were collected on the iNaturalist. So you are sharing your pictures with all the community inside iNaturalist, and the community can help you to identify the species that you are looking at. And also you can start several discussions, because there is a very important social part in iNaturalist. So using a naturalist, you can keep track, so you can record your encounters with other organisms and maintaining a life list all in the cloud. You are connected with experts who can identify the organism you observe. You learn about nature. You can obviously create useful data, and also in iNaturalist, you can download the data that were collected by the community. So you can become a citizen scientist, and also you can run BioBlitz, or maybe you can say that one interesting thing in iNaturalist is that you can open what they call projects. So you can create a project that maybe is focused on a specific species on a specific place or on something, and so you are asking people to collect specific pictures that are focused on your project. Just to give you some example. So for example, you can go on iNaturalist and look for a specific species. So for example, I looked for Apis mellifera, and here you can see all the records that the participants collected about this species. So you have all this data, and you know where and how and when, the data were collected, and also you can create maps, for example, like this. And so you have an idea on where all the observation on Apis mellifera were done by the participants in iNaturalist platform. Or, as I told you, you can open some projects. So, for example, one project, just to give you some ideas, is the UV fluorescent organisms. So here the researcher or the person that opened the project are interested in picture on UV fluorescent organisms. So you can participate giving new data on this project, and also you can download the data that already the project have. Or for example, this one that is very interesting is the arthropod faces, and this is the description of the project, and they say arthropods are often maligned by general public, but being able to look them in the eyes can serve as a reminder that they are living creatures just like we are. Due to their small size, the intricacies of small organisms can be difficult to appreciate. This project aims to collect and display photos that clearly capture these details, as well as increase appreciation and respond for arthropods in the process. So the idea they are collecting the faces of arthropods, just to give you, just to have an idea of arthropods are. And okay, I am just arrived at the end. So thank you very much for your participation. And if you have some questions, I'm here. Okay, so I stop sharing my screen. Okay. Please, Antonio, if you want to ask a question.
Yes. So thank you very much for this amazing presentation, and really, really inspiring, and so much connected to the Insectopia initiative and to the EU Green Alliance philosophy, no? Because at the end of the day, citizen science is connecting the university with the rest of the society according to their interests, is promoting also the opportunities that they can find in the university. And at the beginning, you mentioned some participant experience and wider societal and policy impact, no, as one of the main features of the citizen science. And this is, I mean, monitoring biodiversity is one of the easy things we can do if we all collaborate. No, we have a mobile phone in our hands to take pictures immediately when we see something, and then suddenly we have it in a place. So this is an important value to the science. The question I would like to raise is how from this scientific perspective and understanding also that researchers are very strict sometimes, and that probably most of them are happy with this citizen science methodology, but what is in this research and science world against citizen science? I will say that. What do those who are not that happy with citizen science say? So we know what the enemy is saying about us. Let's say, just to say it in a way.
Yes, I mean the idea is that one of the most important thing when you do scientific research is the accuracy of data. So we need reliable data that are very accurate, and because only in this way we can have scientific information. And so citizen science is not an exception. The idea is that we have to develop citizen science projects that are able to collect accurate data. So how we can do this? We can do this with a strict collaboration between researcher and volunteers. And this is up to the researcher, more or less. So how we, as a researcher, we have to understand how we can, for example, validate the data or be sure that citizens are able to collect accurate data. And this can be done in several ways. So first we can form citizen science, so we can explain with tutorials or with educational aspects, I mean session, etc. We can explain how to collect data and what are the most important mistakes that they have, we cannot accept, for example. We can develop a very simple protocol. So collecting protocols need to be simple, because if they are simple, the probability to make some mistakes is lower. And then there is also, after the collection of data, a very important phase that is the validation of data. So for example, why we ask in a lot of projects, why they ask pictures? Because the pictures can be seen by researchers and the researcher can validate this data. So they can say, yes, this is exactly the insects that you are declaring, or not, there is a mistake. So there is also this type of validation. Then there are other types of things. So we can use also statistics to find, for example, outliers. If there are some data that are completely out of the general trend, this could be, it can be, I mean, this can help us and so focus the attention of the researcher in this type of data, and just to verify if there is a mistake or there is a new discovery. Because outliers can be also a new discovery. So there are techniques and things that we can do, but obviously we need to think about this in advance. So when we develop the project, we have to touch all these aspects.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I see after all those training and sessions with all those citizens, we are not only creating science or collecting accurate data, but also probably motivating people to become researchers, no? So that has another societal impact, which I think, from our perspective, again, as Alliance of Universities, should be considered too.
Yes. We usually
Okay.
usually say that citizen science is an end-on experience. So we are basically asking citizens to become scientists, so to do what we do. And so this is the best way to learn what we do. Just let people do the same thing, no?
Thank you. Okay. So we are very close to the end of the session. If someone else has a question, please, you can raise your hand now. And Cristina will be happy to answer. There is a comment from Sarah. I think she is the one that participated in the most INSECTOPIA webinars. She was registered in all of them, and I see her familiar already. And she's sharing as people is photographic monitoring of pollinating insects that is working in France since 2010. So I will save this link together with the links you shared, Cristina. So Zooniverse, iNaturalist, and they will be made available in the little website we will create with the recording of this webinar, together with these other references and this monitoring scheme you shared from the EU, and any other reference you would like to share with the participants, and to make it available for all those interested in Insectopia. If there are no more questions, I can just again thank you, the University of Parma, for the active collaboration and proactiveness in the Insectopia initiative. The call for proposals in the University of Parma is open. It is available only for students from the university, or for staff from the University of Parma. So if you click on the link, it will be available only if you are a student from that university. If you have any issue, please do not hesitate to contact us. And with this webinar, we conclude the amazing series of webinars we have been developing during January and February 2025. So today we end this first stage of the Insectopia initiative. And it was great to finalize it with this amazing webinar. Again, thank you, Cristina, and thank you to all of you. And we will keep you updated as part of the Insectopia community. So thank you, and see you very soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Bye.